Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we've got the Flysky ST8 transmitter, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of videos on this because quite interesting. We've done the auto return, which makes it a lot easier to use either steering and throttle or steering and throttle, whichever way you want to do it. Makes it more of a useful controller for cars and crawlers. Possibly boats too, depending on how you want your boat to drive. But what we've got here, it comes, because this is the upgraded version, it comes with these two little things and four little screws. And basically what that does, it allows the transmitter that comes as stock that uses the ANT protocol to connect to the AFHDS3, I think that's right, AFHDS3 receivers, the likes what the Noble Pro and MB4 would use, and the Paladin 18 and the Paladin EV. So basically, not only can you use the ground receivers, but you can also use the flight receivers, which you need the FRM 302 module, but that will fit straight to the back of this, and you then have to use the correct firmware for whatever receiver you're using. If I've done videos on this before on how to set this up and how to set the firmware, and on Flysky's site there is links that show you on each one of the receivers and transmitters you've got the upgrade and downgrade software. So you basically just need to make sure you've got the correct firmware on your receiver, and you want the correct firmware on your FRM 302 module. But let's get you in for a close-up look. I'll show you how to set this up, how to fit it and how to bind it, and then explain a bit about the channels, because if you're only coming from RC Cars, you'll probably be used to channel 1 steering and channel 2 throttle, and that's not how flight controllers work, or not how this one's gonna work with RC Cars. You've got a lot more choices and you can do whatever you like with it. But let's get you in for a close-up look, show you how to put this together, show you how to set the transmitter up, and then I'll show you the binding process to get it connected to the I want to say AFHDS3. I think that's what protocol they use. But let's crack on with it. Right, so first thing we're going to have to do is prepare the transmitter itself. So you get these two in the box. So what we're going to want to do, you've got to carefully line these pins up with the holes in the back of the transmitter, and this is going to allow us to fasten the actual transmitter and receive unit down. So if we just line them up with the screw holes, and then I find it easier to get one started first and then put the other one in, and then you can tighten them both up. And these are into metal threads, but you don't need to go crazy tight with them. There's not a lot of weight hanging off back of this. So if we then get that one started, there we go, that's got the bracket in place. Then you're going to want to get your FRM module, and if you look on back of this, you got a number of pins and they line up with the actual pins on the bracket. You can clip that into place. You then screw your antenna on, and you can use this antenna or you can use the optional directional beam antenna. So that's basically how you want to get everything into position on there. You've got a switch on the bottom for internal and external power. You're going to need it on external, and you're just going to need a little lead like this made up with an XT30, I believe it is, and whatever adapter you want to go to what battery you're using. Now, I've also done a video on how to make one of them up. So Once we've got all that in place, you then need to get your receiver that you're going to want to connect to, and you can stick the bind plug in it. You're then going to need some kind of battery or ESC to power it. Now I'm just going to show you running off a LiPo pack, but you can plug your ESC into any channels and your receiver into any channels, and it really depends on how you're setting your sticks up. So let's bring you around for a close-up look, and I'll show you what you need to do now to get it all bound. So we're going to need to power up the transmitter. Then what we're going to need to do is go into his memories. First you want to select a new memory. That will come off that, and do it that way. So go into model select, choose a different memory, then select type of vehicle you're going to be using. Well, we're going to be setting up for an RC car again, so we can get that done. Then you're going to want to go into your memory. You're going to want to go into your select for RX. You're going to want to go RF settings, internal transmitter, we're going to need that turned off. External, we're going to need it set to PPMP for the way we've got this particular one set up. Now, you don't do any binding or anything from here. What you can do is go into your settings to choose what stick mode you want, and this will show you what channel. So if we're going to use channel 2 for throttle and channel 4 for steering, so you just need to bear that in mind when you're setting the receiver up. But you don't bind from the actual controller itself. So now we're going to flip over to the actual module. So first thing you're going to want to do is power this up with the actual bind button held down. And you'll see it goes into bind mode. Then you want to get your receiver, bind pin in, and then plug into any channel that you're not going to be using. So you'll see straight away light's gone solid on the back of the FRM module. So then we can power off his receiver, unplug his bind plug, pop his receiver wire back in, as power back in, and as soon as it turns on, you can see you get this go solid green, so you know it's connected. Then what we can do, I'll use servos to represent our channels. So channel 2, we're going for throttle, so we get this connected, and I believe it was channel 4 we're going to use for steering. So we'll do that. So we should have steering and throttle. So if we flip this back over, and we bring this up, so as you can see, we've got throttle, and then what channel we got this in? Channel 4. Helps if I plug the servo in the right way round. But as you can see, full steering, full throttle, and you will get crazy distance on this, especially if you're using external, because you're using external power. You can get the amplified antenna, which I'll try and dig out and show you what I mean with that one. But that's the basic setup of it. You've also got all the other channels that you can assign. So if you wanted to do this with a higher amount of channel receiver, you've got up to 10 channels assignable on this. You can use all 4 with the FGr4 receiver, so you can assign any of the 4 that you've got. And it's just another option if you've got this controller but you've also got some of the other receivers kicking about, or if you just want to make up a more affordable version of a long range transmitter. So you can get crazy range out of the FRM 302. I think it's over 1,000 meters with the correct receiver and the correct antenna on it. So yeah, just nice to have extra options. But let's wrap this one up. So there we have it. We got a fully working ST8 with an FGR4 receiver. Now you don't have to use big LiPo batteries for this. There's quite a wide range of voltages this will run off. So you could run a much smaller pack and just velcro it to the back of your transmitter, or you might want to run a massive pack so you can have long run time and lots of range. Doesn't really add too much bulk to the actual transmitter itself, but it is really handy to be able to run different receiver protocols with the ST8. If you want even further range and more directional, there is the beam antenna, the FRA 01. So this can screw into it and there's a bit of flex to it so you can position it where you want, and this has got quite high gain as well, so again it'll get you even more distance, but just another option. And they're not very expensive, them antennas either, but hopefully this gives you some more options and allows you a bit more of an idea of what the ST8 can do. The module itself, I don't think they're that expensive, but it depends. Compared to the controller, you're probably looking about same price again, but if you run these modules, you know why you run them. Lot greater distance, and also if you've got some of the like different protocol receivers kicking about, might come in really handy for you. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. Hopefully you find this content useful or entertaining or amusing, but don't forget to like and subscribe, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.